stress reliever because I
Hey, y'all, welcome back to another exciting episode of Who Knows Best. Tonight, we're diving into a super fun and practical way to boost your Cincy business bag parties. But we're not just talking about any bag party, we're talking about influencer bags. And we've got the perfect guest to teach us all about them. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly is an influencer? Well, in today's world, influencers are people who use the social media platforms and personal networks to inspire others, create interest around products or experiences. And the beauty of influencers bags is that you can turn anyone into an influencer for your business. So let's do some quick introductions. I am Cassie Bollinger.
I'm Robin Hatfield. Oh my.
That's okay, girls. Let's go. Keep going. Let's say it again, one at a time.
Who goes first?
Oh my.
I'm Jackie Duran.
I'm Robin Hatfield.
And we do have our goals. Yeah. Say that again. I'm so sorry. That's Malin Bowles. I'm so sorry. I spoke right as it was you were talking. But yes, we have Malin tonight with us. She's here to show us how to assemble these game-changing influencer bags. As you can tell, we're having a blast. She's going to explain how these bags make sharing Cincy easy and engaging, sparking conversations and getting products into the hands of potential customers in a way that's authentic and impactful. So grab your notepads and get ready to learn about how to turn your customers into mini ambassadors for your business. Let's give a warm welcome to Malin. Now, Malin, can you start by telling us what makes these influencer bags so special?
Hi. Okay, so when I first started these, I used to do bag parties all the time. And then I don't know, like COVID happened, I stopped doing them. I just didn't feel, I don't know, I didn't feel the spark with them, but they made me a lot of PRV. It was something simple that I would just give them the stuff, they would keep it for the week, and they'd bring it back to me. So I do work a full-time job. I'm currently on mat leave. So basket parties, or yeah, I call them basket parties, were huge for my business because I didn't have to set up an online party. I didn't have to go to somebody's house. I would literally just drop it on their doorstep, pick it up on their doorstep, and away we go. And I used to get crazy amount of PRV from them. And then I just stopped doing them. So this past year, I've kind of been reflecting and I've been kind of going back to the basics of my business, trying to find that original spark because I've been in it now for 9 years. And I'm like, okay, what did I do then that was working that I stopped doing? So I brought back my basket party, but I needed to do it in a way that made me unique, that to stand out. And I was actually on Instagram one day and I was just scrolling through stories as most of us probably do. We get stuck in that doom. I wouldn't even say doom scroll because really you're pressing a button like constantly.
True though, it's true. We do.
And I'm glad you put this as 18 plus because I got to a local distillery we have here, and each month they have a flight of drinks. There's nothing special about these drinks. It's literally like a wooden plank, and it has 4 little glasses on it, and they make fancy cocktails. But they're not fancy. It's as simple as sometimes like Sprite with cranberry juice, and then it makes a really pink, pretty pink color, and they showcase it for Valentine's Day. And then there's 4 other mixed cocktails, and they charge like 15.99 Canadians um, for these drinks. And I'm like, but there's nothing special to them. But people are literally going and flocking to this place each month just so they could sit down, have the cute little drink, hold it in their hand, and take those photos with their friends. And I'm like, they have got something that is massively working for them. And I was like, I need to do something, or not need to, I want to do something that if I am to post with Scentsy, a basket or a bag, that if somebody sees it and they go, I want that. I want to have that in my hands. I want to take photos of it and I want to share it. But also, I want to get a party out of it without calling it a party. So that's where my influencer basket came from. And I actually have one going out tomorrow night. So it worked out really well because I'm like, oh, I get to do 2 at once. So I get to show you guys and then I get to take it out the door tomorrow. So yeah, I'm going to show it off. So this is it. Super cute.
Oh, that is cute. Look at the back. Oh, I love the bag.
Thank you.
Adorable.
So
Love
I do
it.
have a nice stylized photo that I took by stylized, I mean my ring light in my hallway made it look all nice and cute. And I'm not posting the photo right away. I kind of do that as like a back burner kind of thing. But what I am doing is I am going to people when I'm scrolling my stories, they're constantly showing off different products. They're constantly talking about different restaurants, products they picked up at the mall. And I'm not talking like, so these are my influencers to my brain, but they don't have to be an actual influencer. I'm looking for people who are inspiring to be an influencer, who's excited, who wants to show these off, who might even just like things that are aesthetically pleasing, because those are my target audience. I don't care if you have 2,000 followers. I mean, it'd be nice, or if you have 150 followers. Like I am going for the people that are willing to do the work. So what I do is I message them and I say, hey, I have an influencer basket. Would you like to borrow it? And I show them the picture. And people will ask me, they're like, well, what's an influencer basket? And I was like, simple. It's a basket with open product that you're allowed to use the product. It has samples in it. It has catalogs. And you simply just use the products, take little videos of it, and whatever orders you collect can go towards a party, and you get free and half price items on top of it. And I go, cool, sounds good to me. So this little basket I picked up at HomeSense. I don't know if you guys have HomeSense or Winners, Target, Hobby Lobby, like anywhere that has really cute baskets. I think I paid like $10 for this basket. I found it in the laundry section, which I found was super cute. So in this basket, I have a room spray. And in Canada, our #1 fragrance is black raspberry vanilla. So that is what I picked. I have a cotton cleanup with instructions on how to use it because I want to see those videos of them changing their wax. I have, oh, that's a chart or the cord for a mini fan because I want to see them using the mini fan in places they go. So if I'm giving it to somebody who does lots of girl weekends, who's out in their car, constantly getting some Starbucks, I want them to show off this cute little gadget.
Can I just say real quick, I love the
Yeah.
fact that you are incorporating things that they can actually use, like
Yep.
use and then post. So more of like an influencer type. I'm sharing this. This is where you can get this if you're
Yep.
interested, kind of a thing. I love this.
Absolutely. And I try to pick products that people might not have in their homes if they already are a Scentsy user. Because like if they already are a Scentsy user, well, now I just gave them a cotton cleanup to change their wax with. But like travel twists, they just came out like 2 years ago, so they're not very popular yet. Same with the room spray. This is the new formula of it. So, and I'm giving them all this information. I'm like, hey, did you try that new room spray? It has this formula. So then they can talk about it. I have in here counter cleanup. And I also want to say all of these products are open. They're not brand new. I use them with credits. Some of them, I use this in my kitchen. It is Squeeze the Day counter clean. I used it in the summer because I'm a seasoner girl. I want lemons and sunshine in the summer. And in the fall, I want moody cinnamon. So there's half a bottle left. Like I'm going to tuck it away in a closet. And this isn't designed for them to keep all the product. I'm going to pick this basket back up. But if some product goes missing, I really don't care. It's kind of one of those things like if it does go missing, it's not
That's a good
money
thing,
out of
right?
my
Like
pocket.
you want it to go
Yeah.
missing because you want to know that they've tried it, they've maybe got an opinion on it, and they're going to talk to other people about it.
Absolutely. And I know when I'm approaching people, I'm approaching them. It's not just them coming to me and I don't know who they are. I don't know where it's going. There is definitely that little bit of trust there. But when I look at it overall, it's all stuff, like I said, that's open. Yeah, if it goes missing, it's not a heartbreak to my business. I also have in here a hand cream that's open, of course. And I have a cute little like girl boss pen. I have a QR code to add me on Facebook, business card.
Love that. Love that.
I
That's
have
great.
laundry liquid, washer whiffs that I made myself. These are little, we call them Jello shot cups here in Canada.
Same here. It's a little
and
small for us, but you know.
Same here. I'm not gonna lie. Same here.
And tomorrow I have a get together with my Scentsy team, and about 2 times a year we have a sample making night, and we're actually turning it into a Christmas cookie exchange. But long story short, we're making samples of whatever we want. I'm bringing stuff to make dryer sheet samples. So it's going to be tucked into this literally right before the person gets it. So they're going to have that as well to go with their laundry. And I gave them one pod for their mini fan. Because obviously it's a mini fan, it only needs one. And this one was Christmas cookie. So I got it in my scent of the month kit. So this way it helps get that scent of the month out. I got these really cute Swedish dishcloths from Temu, like a 5-pack, I think was like $2. And
Those look
again,
like
if they
the
use
ones that we had for a hop, skip, and a jump, like last summer or the summer before. They had those little washcloths, and I actually cut mine in a fourth to send out with some cleaning stuff. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and now they're using this really cute stylized, this really cute stylized counter clean because Scentsy did an awesome job. And then picture the two of that in a nice bright home.
Yep.
I just set them up for success, right? I have this kind of little crushed here, but it is samples of all the bricks. So there's their wax they can use because then they're showcasing something that's kind of like an LTO. I'm pretty confident it's not going to sell out. And if it does, I highly doubt all 5 bricks are going to sell out right away at once by tomorrow.
Or they can add it to a Scentsy Club.
I was about to
That's
say
what
that. They can add a bar to the Scentsy Club.
I have a cute little scent circle for whatever they want to do. And I will message them and be like, hey, did you know scent circles can be used? Insert all these places here. Let them get creative with it. I have this. So there is no testers in this bag. Why? Because they're weighty. They don't look cute. So I have this cute little scratch and sniff handlet. I think I stole it from somebody on a What Did You Share whatever page. And it has all the new scents. There's a like it, love it here if only one person looks at it, but it's designed for multiple hands. If it comes back all crinkled, gross, cool. In the garbage it goes. I have a scent of the month brochure with a little scratch and sniff.
I'm just going to interrupt real quick. If you can share that slash
The Canva.
and yeah.
This one?
That
Yeah.
I would
sure
die
can.
for that. I'm
Well,
not
that
gonna
way,
lie.
so the
I would
people
die
who
for
are that way,
Okay.
the people who are watching can also kind of like, that way they can kind of get the idea because everybody's going to be like,
That's a
"What's the
genius
Canva link?"
idea.
It is.
Because
I didn't.
It wasn't mine. I definitely stole this from somebody. So whoever it was, thank you.
But I love that because I'm old school Scentsy, right? So like I'm used to the like it, love it, or maybe can live without it list, whatever you want to call it. But I've always paired that with the catalog or with the samples, whatever it is that I'm selling out or sending out in the mail or handing out. I love the fact that it's all together on one thing. I love that.
Yeah. I just love how simple it is. And then I have just 3 catalogs. Nothing crazy. And there's no order forms because I'm going to be real. In modern day, they're probably just going to send me a text message with what they want anyway. So there's no point because every time I give somebody order forms, they're like, what do I fill out? What's the product number? What? Just give me the damn order.
Yes.
I'll take care of it for you.
Well, and I think that's another thing that we've gotten away with is that during COVID, whenever I started, we gave them so much information because we thought we needed to tell them every single thing. So not having order forms in there and having them be like, well, how do I place an order? Oh, just send it to me. Because it's so much easier with this digital age that now if you have older customers and they'll be like, I want to write it down, take a picture, send it to me.
Exactly.
Because you can print off the order forms from our workstation. You can get them and print them out if you really feel like they need it. It doesn't have to be on a triplicate. They can keep it. They have a picture. You can print it. Like, I love this bag because the way that you're presenting it, the way that you're talking about, like, I have this really cute rag along with the counter clean and it pairs together. So when they take a picture, it's not just like a paper towel that they're using. They have something cute. And even if they just took a picture of the bag itself, I'm loving it. Like, I'm like going to be looking at the laundry stuff because I love all the pockets on the outside.
Hensley, you know what I was thinking? You could also do like because I like jot form. So you could do like an order form via jot form since they want to fill it out and all their info is there and they have the little box of everything they want to put in. And then you can keep their info in one place and send them an invoice or they can pay however you want. But I think that's how I would do it. I would do a QR code with a jot form. So just wanted to throw that idea out there.
was gonna say my catalogs do have a QR code on them as well. But all of my wax samples also have QR codes that leads them right to my
Website.
landing page with
Oh.
like, so this is pistachio wood. So when they scan this, it takes them to the wax bar, the room spray, and the scent circle. Because I'm like, if you're gonna love it, if you love it enough, you're scanning it, then I need you to see all the products it's available in.
Then
Yeah,
they should probably club it.
Exactly.
I will say
yeah.
I love the idea that you've put together here because it kind of combines two of the things that I've been doing for a long time, but I love the new take that you've taken on it because I would do what I would call bag parties, pouch parties, whatever, and it's somewhat to that extent. I love the fact that you're here, try this, use this, here's, you know, some hand cream, whatever. I love that piece of it. But I also love the fact that you are giving them something that they can actually take away, not only use from, but then it's something that they can just share out, right? Like they're
Yep.
getting their own sample of it. And so what I've called as borrow bags previously, where I've taken like a warmer that I've had forever. And I'll be like, here, borrow this for like 1 or 2 weeks. Here's a thing of wax, or here's a handful of samples, you know, try a warmer in your house, blah, 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 blah. I love the fact that it's taking a borrow bag plus a party and putting it all together. I love this idea and I'm so inspired. And this is what
Thanks.
Well, and
I
this
love
is
the
easy
idea
for
of like,
oh, sorry.
it's okay. So yeah, when I go back to work in January, I really needed something that I can literally just pass to somebody and then I can just give them prompts. So I always had a really hard time making that connection of after dropping off a basket. I kind of want to check in to be like, hey, have you even shared it? How many people have you shared it to? Because human nature, we're curious, right? But now I have the prompts of, hey, did you know the mini fan can go in your car? You should take a picture of that. Hey, did you know the scent circles can go in here? So I have more instead of, hey, did you get any orders? So it's more of like a conversation starter because I have a really hard time with that, shockingly.
You know what? And that really kind of prompts me to do also, like, if they're going to be sharing it, we're in more of a, how should I put this? Robin maybe can help me with this. Are we more of in an influencer era of the world, right? Where we've got like TikTok, right? Like
Yeah.
my TikTok shop, blah, blah, blah. Here's the orange shopping cart at the bottom, right? Like we've gotten more into an influencer type of a social media world. So I almost want to take this and maybe even tell the people that I'm giving this to, hey, if you do a 30-second TikTok and you tag me in it, then I will send you a hashtag income disclosure, right? I will send you a free scent circle, or, you know, like I'll send you a thank you, and it could be samples or whatever you have on hand, right? Or even just a handwritten note or whatever, right? Like, and that would not only help you with that customer, but getting them to use it, and triple fold, getting them to share it with the people that they are already following or that are following them.
It helps me also bridge my gap between like, so I'm 31. I started Scentsy when I was 21. So I always had to be a bit more creative just to get like people my age to book parties. But now I'm having that issue with trying to get people who are younger than me to book parties. And now it's like, hey, I just seen that you've been sharing like crazy and you have a lot of people commenting, would you like to borrow this? And like without saying party, and I'm like, hey, you want free and half price items? But I'm also using it as introduction because when they do this and they see, oh, I just gained X amount of orders, and I went, cool, do you want to flip it? You did all the work.
Well, it's almost like you're doing a training for them to use a product, take a picture, share it on social media, no matter what platform they're on, because it's not like specifically just for TikTok. You could have them do a 30-second reel on Instagram or Facebook. And then that way you also have that customer review that you can put, you can
Authentic,
type it up as a transcript and do it as a little thing that you can put like, hey, if you have on your landing page, like so-and-so really enjoyed the counter clean because, and they already have the words that they have said themselves. And you can even tag the video so they could go look at the video. Like there's so many implications here of moving this to an even, like, to spread it over so many different social medias. And I love this because we are in that era of everybody wants to be an influencer and everybody wants to have something to talk about. And on, on TikTok, you sign up for a shop and you ask for samples, and sometimes they get approved and sometimes they don't. And so for this, you're like, here's an influencer bag. You can talk about one, you can talk about all. You like, here is some stuff that you can try, and you can share. Here's, if people ask, you can share the link or just have them send the order, and then that way you put them all together. However you're doing it. But so I did have one question. So when you're scrolling, do you make sure that they are in your area before you have to drop off?
I was thinking the same
because
thing.
I'm thinking like a lot of my friends there are quite a few in Texas, but I have more friends everywhere. And I was like, I wanted to make sure, because you're like, yeah, just go and drop it off and then go pick it up. And I'm like, I'm not driving 3 hours to go, up to Oklahoma to pick it up and drop it off and come back. So
no, I don't blame you. So shipping for us is
come on.
Shipping for us is ridiculously expensive. So I leave this as local if I can't drop it off to you. But that being said, I can't say no to anybody. So if somebody messages me from like outside the area and is like, hey, can I have something? My brain goes into overdrive and I'm like, I can't do that exact thing, but I can make something for you. Because like my response would be looking at how many people follow them. I will check out their Instagram or their TikTok or their Snapchat or whatever and see like what kind of quality it is. And like you can tell, like the people who put quality into it, they care. And if it looks like, somebody's basement that has no actual lighting and you can see that they're just kind of like sitting there with maybe like a joint in their hand or a cigarette, you're like,
all right, don't hate the player, hate the game. Hate the game, not the
but
player.
FYI, if they do that, the spice, our spice scents do take that out, and so does our Scentsy Fresh. So you could essentially be like, here's some Scentsy Fresh. I know that you're down in the basement, but this may take out some of that scent.
I'm not always in the basement.
No one was talking about you.
I feel personally attacked.
Oh my God.
I don't.
No. I'm not saying to like, okay. My family is huge pot smokers. I am all for it, but I'm talking about like the grainy photos of like you taking a picture of something and you're like, what is that even?
Or they take a picture and it's like this, and they're like, it's dark, and you're like,
yeah,
what is that? Yeah. Like you're having to look really hard to be like, what are they showing?
And you're reading their descriptions and you're like, is that even English?
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm kind of doing like a quality control. So that would kind of insert what my response is if it's outside of my area and how much thought and effort I'm putting into what their box will be. Now, that being said, everybody starts from the bottom. I'm never going to stereotype in that sense. But it might be, I'm not going to mail you a minifan, if you know what I mean.
Right.
You might get the catalog with some scratch and sniff stickers and a scent circle, and I will still make it cute when you open the box, but.
So, okay, so I have to insert here, like, my wheels are spinning. I love this topic. I love this because my business was founded on what I would call pouch parties, basket parties, what have you, because I had some home parties, but I've probably only had, I've been doing Scentsy for what, almost 13 years. I've probably had maybe 5 home parties for all 13 years, right? The majority of my
girl after my own heart. Yep.
The majority of my business was built on pouch parties because the majority of my customers are also out of state. I really don't have a whole handful of I have a small handful of local customers. The majority are not near me. So everything I do is shipping, mailing, or emailing, or newsletters, things like that. But I love the fact, because my wheels are spinning with all of this, because it gets me back to my basics, going back to what actually worked for me in my business. But number 2, it builds upon more of a social media presence, right? Like I almost want to think of this as like, what if this is my business, right? I could say I'm offering an influencer package, just like TikTok does, right?
Yep.
They'll send you a free sample. Please, post about this and hashtag it over here. And maybe you end up making $3. Awesome, right? Like whatever. But what if I were to do an influencer type of a program and say, hey, if you share this on because I'm trying to grow on TikTok right now. If you share this on your TikTok or your YouTube or your Instagram, what have you, right? Like I will send you a I don't
Yeah.
know,
Or I'll give you a special, well, you can just
a
say
special
special.
prize
special
or what have you, right?
surprise.
Like,
Yes.
like a bar of my scent of the month because I subscribe to it anyway as a consultant, right? So I've got extras of those usually. That's probably what I would do, right? Like, here, I'll send you a bar if you would like to share this out. So it's almost like an influencer program. So I'm helping people to not only get on that social media train, but I'm helping my business. And it's really an easy way to do it.
Yeah.
It's cheap.
I
Yeah.
love it.
And like
Well,
I've
and
had
Jackie,
people.
you can easily put it into a bag and do pirate ship and ship something. And so even if you had a minifan, so even if you did not, I don't know if I'd ship a minifan, but for them to
I'm not.
test. Well, if you had a
I
whole bunch,
I would totally.
These
I
were
have a
$8
handful
in
of those.
Canada on the flash sale. So
oh
you can
yeah,
have
and I have a
same
whole
as
bunch
bar.
of those.
Plenty.
Like, but I'm
I
just saying
do
that if you had a whole bunch of extra stuff that you've gotten for free, it doesn't make you money sitting, and I can vouch for that. None of this stuff that was behind me, if you guys have watched our podcast before, none of the stuff behind me was making me money. So I'm moving it and I'm getting it moving towards other people. I have bags now. Now I never thought about calling it an influencer bag, but I have go bags for Cincy, and one of them is to do a home party because I still like I have my big purple bag. But I found a whole bunch of bags that were in a tote because I'm a tote person. And I was like, and they're cute bags, but they're back from whenever I was buying from 31 and buying from Lucy bags. And they were just bags because I liked cute little bags that were small tote bags. And so I'm like, well, I can easily have these bags and just throw a couple products into it and hand them out. And if they wanted to be mailed, it wouldn't be in a bag. It would be in a box. So it'd be an influencer box or an influencer, I don't know, but
But you know,
ChatGPT.
with mailing, you could just do a bunch of samples. Like, you wouldn't even have to give them full size products. You can give them multiple counter clean samples, multiple, because that's what I was doing too. Because my customer base is not local, like Jackie. Mine's all over, and so I would have to resort to shipping, but it could be done.
Yeah. And here's the thing too, when they're sharing on social media, right? Like, even if they don't have a warmer or whatever, and I'm just sending little samples, it's, hey, can you share which out of these 5 samples, whether it's a felt sample, a little sliver, whatever I've mailed, right? Smell these and rate them 1 to 5. And please share this with this hashtag, and you're part of my influencer program. Boom, right? Like, that's an
So I also have a downline director, so it kind of like leads into this. So she has a lot of people that's not local. So we're in Nova Scotia. She has a lot of people in Vancouver because that's where she lived for like 10 years. So when somebody there hosts a party, she actually mails them a little package, and like it's not fancy. It has like 5 testers in it, and they're all discontinued testers. Like when we do like the nice little transition. So I think she puts like 5 testers, a send circle, a catalog, same like scratch and sniff sticker style. And then she goes, you keep it, because she doesn't care. She doesn't want it back. And same with the tester. She's like, just flip them upside down and use them. And that's what they get as a thank you for hosting the parties. They get to keep all those little extras. And I'm like, that is brilliant, because then she has it to share around for her party. And yeah, I was like, this is, you're ahead of the game.
Well, and it's nice to be able to utilize some of the stuff that's been sitting there. And if you have, even if it's a discontinued scent, so like we had a whole bunch of washer whiffs and stuff that I got samples for whenever I first started. Like I bought some of the little packs of samples, and I was like, this is so cool. Well, then they got put into a box somewhere, and my daughter found them. And so my office was fully packed, and she went through and organized everything, cleared it up. Like, these are all of my, like, I have products behind me on one shelf, and then I have the stuff I'm using over here. Like, that's it. All warmers are above. There's no other stuff down here. And she's organized it to be like, this is what you have in excess of. Apparently, I am a sucker for the fragrance flowers, and I have tons of but I bought little bottles that for samples for when I do events. Well, whenever you do those, it makes quite a few samples. And so I thought about taking some of those fragrance flowers that are normal, not our holiday or seasonal ones that are tinted, but like the normal ones that you have that are in the norm, like the catalog, and doing samples. But I have to remind, like, but then there's like the whole thing. Don't sniff it. You need to wave it around, like, because that stuff, that oil is strong. So if you
don't sniff this. I know it's fragrant, and I know you like things that smell, but please don't sniff this.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want it, you don't inhale. Like when you do
Gotta
a
do
test.
one
It's
of
just like
these.
perfume. You're supposed to
Don't huff
waft it.
it.
You're supposed to waft it towards you. You're not supposed to just smell and spray perfume in your face. You're supposed to put it on a piece of paper and kind of do this. So it's kind of the same thing for our
Oh,
fragrance flowers.
please. I went into Bath and Body Works today and because Lord knows I love my fragrance and they were having a sale today. So I walked in and what do you think Jackie did? Every single body spray is like on a different part of my body right now. Do you know I
You're
smell
like,
like
this side
probably
is the pink, is the pink.
13 different scents right now? Like that's what we do. We love scent. We want to smell it all. We want it all. And I will tell you that yes, I picked a favorite because that's what I do with my body sprays. But when you combine all of these different scents, they're amazing. And I think that one of the great things is when we're doing samples and things like that, a lot of people get very caught up in doing like this big fancy sample pack or what have you. Honestly, you could just take some. I've got 1 cube of this, 1 cube of that, 1 cube of this, 1 cube of that. I'm going to take my little cheese grater that I don't use for cheese because don't use it with food and wax. But grate it down, right? And then like I'm actually creating little labels. It's like, you know, something about confetti because I'm all about confetti. And so I'm going to call it like my confetti wax sample or, you know, special thank you for ordering from me last month. And it's just what little pieces of a one bar that I might have left over from something. But you add a whole bunch of scents together and they smell flipping amazing.
Did
I
you see
smell
that
amazing
post
right now.
earlier
I don't
this
even want
week?
to take a shower, but I'm going to have to. But my point is that, yeah, I think if we start like breaking it down to what we can do and what is cheaper to do for us as consultants, I think we win.
And
Bailey, what were you saying?
I was going to say, did you see the post earlier this week? I don't know who made it, but it was called Wax Confetti. And they did a team get together where everybody bought a different wax bar, different colors, and they all chopped it up, grated it, and threw it into a big bowl, mixed it together, and made samples and called it Wax Confetti. And it had a little note card that said, sprinkle or toss into your warmer and shout hooray and enjoy your wax confetti or something like that. It was really cute. So I wanted to make it with my Scentsy team for World Tour. So it's like, oh, thank you for investing in your business. Enjoy some wax confetti and throw it in your warmer and celebrate you. Like I was like, that's so freaking cute.
Well, because we all have those bars that we've used up, but now there's only one left, and you're like, I'm not going to put that in a big warmer because it's like, you know, I'll just save it for something else. But using those little bits, because I have a whole box of stuff that, you know, because I use 2 bars in here, and in my bedroom I use 4, and in the front room I use 8. So it's like I have all different combinations of like different amounts left over, and I'm like, oh, there's only 2 left. I gotta wait to put them in my office, and then I don't use them, and then I'm like, oh, but I don't really want that smell because that's more summer, or you know, or it's very clean, and I don't like the clean scents that much. It's my husband, so. I like the bakery, the fruity, and the spice. Like right now, it's all about bakery.
Yep.
But
so I am gonna say with the basket, the number one thing I hear from people who I do this training with is, I don't know anybody. What's the point of me even making an influencer basket? And I'm like, what are you talking about? You're a Scentsy consultant. You're already a Scentsy influencer, whether you like it or not. So I was like, just make the damn basket, show off the damn basket how you would like to see the damn basket. And you've already started it because people naturally want what they don't have. And if they see all these products and they go, would you like to use this basket too? You're going to gain attraction somewhere, somehow. Sometimes it might take 1 post, sometimes it might take 5 posts, but being that consistent, like showing that you already have it on the go, like don't make it one show at once and go, nobody took my basket. Well, like, of course they didn't take your basket. You only showed it once. How many times do you see a promo for a store before you're like, I'm going to go in? I've been thinking about it like for the past week. I need to go get that. Right.
Well, and it's people don't understand is that when you see commercials, when you see ads or whatever, like you know, with all of the political stuff that finally stopped after we had our election, like, but it was on every time I watched on any kind of streaming app, it shows the same commercials over and over. And that's the same thing for when you're posting on social media. You can't post one and done and think that everybody sees it and remembers it that one time. And Lisa does an amazing job because she takes one picture setup and she takes angles from all over, and that's how she sprinkles it in and does 15 to 30 posts a day and get so much attraction because she's not posting once. She's posting it 15 different times in different angles with different words over, over a month or so. I mean, she takes some of the posts that she has, they're older and newer, but that's where it's just like social media. If you found one person's TikTok and you watched it and you didn't save them and you don't ever see them again, you're never going to remember who that was. So it's got to be more consistent, and you've got to post about, I have this influencer bag. I'm looking, I have one available right now, local only, something similar to ship or whatever. And then that way it can be kind of a shipped down, condensed down. And it's a great way to advertise it in different ways. You take a picture with it, then you take a picture with you with it, and then you take a picture of it just sitting somewhere. Like you said, you do yours down the hallway. I do mine I have a new little desk over here, or a new little shelf. So I have it set up to where I can do something and it's not glass underneath so you can see everything. It's like basically a cubby, and I can set it in there, and I have lights on the side, and I can take pictures of things. Yes, I've been organizing and reconstructing. But you have to, I've been doing this now for 4.5 years. I started in 2020, and I'm back to the basics too, of the basics I never knew. Because when y'all talk about back to the basics, and y'all have been in there for 9 and 10 and 13 years, I'm 4 years in, but I started with a 2-year delay of doing basics because it wasn't available. When you can't see people and everything's shut down.
Though. Your basics were different. Like it was a whole different.
Social media was my jam back then, because I could post and get 30 orders. I could post one time and get 30 orders. And so I was posting in my VIP every hour on the hour from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. And I would get 2 to 3 orders a day from those posts. And now it's not like that. It's, it's a little bit different now, and you have to be a little bit more strategic. But easily, I mean, I'm absolutely loving it, because even if you had the bag in the background and had one product out and be like, have you tried this yet? And like, I have a whole bag of goodies. There's so many different ways to be like, here you go. And I am so loving this. I'm so glad that this was the topic that you have for tonight, because I'm just like, I'm learning more from all of our guests than I am because, everybody gets in a slump, and I'm in that weird slump right now. I don't know, everybody talks about the 7-year itch. I think it's the 5-year itch. I don't know. Because it's like, everybody's struggling to find something, and it does change over time. And going back to, like, bag parties were never a big deal for me because we couldn't hand stuff away. Everybody was having to wipe down testers. And so I was just like telling people, this is what it smells like. I was reading the description and being like, it smells like flowers in the sunlight, in a forest, along by the ocean, and it's like, and I would just iterate it. Yeah. Anyways, I would just say it and be like, this is what it sounds like. I'm like, oh, that sounds so good. And I'm like, yes, doesn't it? I've never smelled it. I don't know, but we all come in at different times, but I'm loving it.
COVID times were my jam, because like, I'm actually an introvert. Like after this, I'm going to have to like shut down, do my own thing, play on my phone. But when COVID happened, I was like, oh no, the inconvenience. Well, don't have to go out in public today. Anyways, I'm going to deliver your order. Just think of me like your Scentsy Uber driver. I will leave it on your front porch and I'll take a photo. Have a good day. There's nothing worse to me. Like people are like, oh, you should strike up conversation and create that connection. There is nothing worse than me dropping off the order. I have to get home in like 30 minutes, and Sally is now bawling her eyes out. Had this actually happen once, I dropped off the order, and we'll call her Sally, like I said, for no name experiences. And I was like, I hope you enjoy your goodies, and I hope you had a good day. And she started crying, and she went, I'm not having a good day. My husband just left me. I went, oh, what am I supposed to do? Go, okay, bye. I am now stuck being the Scentsy therapist.
Yeah.
And I'm like, would you like a wax bar to go with your troubles? Like,
hey, let me give you some mystery, man, so you don't have to miss this anymore.
And I'm like, so now I'm stuck listening to this bawling woman on her couch, and I'm like, I text my husband. I'm like, I can't leave. He's like, what do you mean you can't leave? I went, this stranger, her husband just left her, and I can't go nowhere. Like what are you supposed to do? So I am so glad for COVID, because now I'm not stuck in situations like that.
Well, then that kind of brings up a good point. It's like, so how do you start the conversations when you're scrolling through social media, since you are like I am just as awkward. I told all y'all at boot camp, like I cannot have just a basic, like, you know, how's the weather? You know, how about them Cowboys? And, you know, and like on KC, you know, but anyway, so it's just
Who's watching the Cowboys? Who's watching the Cowboys
so
games?
anyways, I still watch them every week.
Team.
So anyways, but that's the whole thing is I don't do well with that chit chat, but I also have that problem with texting and like, how's your day going? And I've had to do the texting therapy of like, I lost my job today and my husband left and took the dog in the truck and I don't know where like, it's just, you're like, I'm so sorry that happened. Do you have any orders for me? Like, you know, it's like, what do you like? How do you transition to that? But how do you send messages to somebody that you know, but maybe you don't talk to on a daily basis? You know, like they're your friends list for some reason. But how do you start that conversation, and how do you entice them if you're reaching out to them?
Okay, so it's kind of going to be a little long-winded question here. So I do set myself up for success leading into that. If you look me up on social media, I am a very heavily presence person on there. So I am posting about my life. I am posting about, so my husband's a chef. My full-time job, I'm an automotive mechanic. My daughter is a crazy person who looks like my husband but acts like me, and then I'm like, oh dear Lord, somebody please save me. And I'm really open with all that. But I also grew up in a time where I would dive into just MSN. I would sneak away to just like MySpace, and I was every teenage mom's nightmare of who I was talking to, kind of thing. So I guess that's where it came with having non-personal conversations, because you would have literally a non-personal conversation with a stranger, and they would still know nothing about you. They wouldn't know your name, your hair color, who you are, because that wasn't internet safety. But you could talk about things you're into, like I'm a big old nerd. So if I see people going to my local sci-fi convention, I'm like, oh, hey, I know that tattoo you like, blah, blah, blah. And to me, that's not small talk. That's me making a connection with you on things you like. People who post about food, I love food. I look like this for a reason. And my husband cooks. So if somebody posts photos, I'm like, oh my goodness, where was this at? What do you think of it? Was it good? But I don't like, sometimes I'll do it in comments if I really don't know that person. If I'm starting to grow that connection with them where it's not weird if I slide into their messenger, I will ask them privately. And like people will tag me and stuff, and then like they'll simply message me like, hey, I thought that video was really funny, and leave it at that. So when I'm sending these messages, I'm not a stranger on social media. Like they've seen me in my stories, they know what I like. I will be flat out if somebody's like, oh, do you like the scent? I'm like, winterberry apple tea. It's my jam. It's my favorite scent of all times. But they're like, hey, do you like jammy time? And I'm like, that is absolutely disgusting. But if you like lavender and you like the smell of clean kids, that's what you want. We do so me and my husband, we have a biannual, and my goodness, if Sensei's listening to this, I'm so sorry, a biannual with Bring Back My Bar of a unrestricted live. Like we have drinks here. We've even played like drinking games where if we said Sensei, we have to take a shot. One of the times we were really stoned, so that's why I'm going to go back with I don't stereotype. And I am flat out like, this is an 18A. There is no filter. There might be some raunchy stuff. There might be like, we might swear. There might be stuff that shouldn't be in front of little ears. So as we're smelling stuff, like I will never forget one of them. It wasn't even a Bring Back My Bar. It was skinny dipping. And I opened it up. I was like, oh, skinny dipping. And I smell it. My husband's like, skinny dipping? Why would anybody want to be smelling like ass? I went, what are you talking about? He's like, that's what I think of when I hear skinny dipping. Like, I don't want to smell that. And I'm like, okay, no, it smells like oranges. And he goes, who's
skinny dipping smells like oranges?
Yeah, exactly. So I make myself open in that sense. So when I do message somebody and I'm like, hey, I have an influencer basket, I already have that pre-set up social media presence of being able to offer it to an influencer.
Okay. So that does answer. It's like, because, you know, anybody watching this is kind of like, oh, well, I'm just going to scroll through and start messaging people. And so you're doing more of a lead up to anything that you decide to do. This is not just like you started one day and just start cold messaging strangers that you happen to follow or that happen to follow you and being like, hey, how you doing? Kind of thing. Cause I hate when people do that on those DMs, but but that helps because that also helps other consultants to know that if you're just posting and you're not having any kind of connection, asking people to do stuff for you is going to be weird because it's like a total
You're making it weird.
Yeah, you're making it weird already because they don't really know who you are because you only post once or twice a day or once or twice a week or once or twice a month. And all of a sudden you're like, hey, I have these bag parties, be a host. And they're like, who are you? And I don't even know what you're talking about. But you have that connection because how often you're on social media and how often you're already talking and having conversations through either comments, and then you're feeling comfortable enough to slide into their DM and be like, hey, I've been, when they say I've been watching your videos, it's not creepy of like, I'm watching your videos.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, they know that you're going to interact.
Wait a minute, which videos? What app are we on?
Whoa. What
app are we
You know
on?
what my feet look like?
Hey, we're not starting about the OF one because that's where Justin is going. That's where he wanted to take Cincy. That was not where we were going to go. So, but yeah,
and I guess you don't want to be so Snap-on. Snap-on's a great franchise, very similar to a direct sales company. Whenever people ask me like, what about Scentsy? But if I was a Snap-on rep, I'm not going to slide into some homemakers that might never have fixed a car, touched a tool, did like any type of repairs. That's not my target audience, and that's going to be weird. But if you target to a tradesperson who is into it, that's why people in Snap-on go to the dealerships and go to repair shops with their truck. They pull into the parking lot, make it nice and convenient with like, hey, would you like to buy this pen that costs $20 bi-weekly? And you're like, sure. It has a nice little cute Snap-on thing. I'm interested into it.
Yeah.
But you're not going to pull up into a Suburbia and be like, would you like to buy a tool? You're like, are you a tool?
Yeah.
So it's definitely knowing your target audience, but also be real. It's called Facebook for a reason. Not your dog book, not your flower book. I don't want to see no quote as your face. I want to see you. And the reason why is because we live in a society where scams are an actual thing. You can send a message to a random person and they might be like, are you real? Like I have people who I have known forever and they send me a second friend request and you're like, is your account?
Yeah.
Like was your account deleted? And then they come back with, oh, my account got hacked, so now I have to have a backup. Or they do the, hey, how are you? And you're like, oh, no. So
I always ask him funny questions of like, how's your sister doing? And they're like, she's doing great. I'm like, oh, well, after the amputations, did she get into the wheelchair or did she get artificial leg? Like I go really crazy that they're like, and it's so funny. It's like, yes, but did you know you can get these free grants and you can get $10,000 and all you have to do is go here and you're like, well, why don't you use it? You're living on the street. I mean, like, and they're all like, my situation is changing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's not them. Cause I've had, but yeah, I get what you're saying now.
Yeah. And so you have to be personable and show, like, you don't have to be so personable to show your life. Like if you were to look at my social media, you might see one or two pictures of my daughter, but most of the main photos is only if you were my friends, because I'm only posting it for my friends. Normally, like I try really hard to make it so it's like, you can only see like the back of her head or like the side. You can't see like her fully because I do gain followers, right? But I still want to definitely create that connection, but also to make it so I'm a real person. So especially if I added one of you guys, you'd be like, oh yeah, no, I did this podcast with Maylin. She's super cool. I hope that's what you're thinking.
I already followed you.
Perfect. And then I'm a real person. But when you're dealing with trying to find new people, whatever platform it is, that's where you have to be authentic with it. Because honestly, if a girl named Linda adds me and her profile picture is some flower with a quote and her main photo is obviously not Linda, and you look at their posts and there is like 3 different posts before I even add them as a friend that you can't even see the dates for, and they're all quotes of just random photos, I don't know if you're a real person or not. And like, right. I know that does touch a comfort zone for some people, but getting out of that comfort zone is definitely where the magic happens. And depending on where you want to be in your business on social media, you have to be a little bit vulnerable.
Well, yeah, because and going for that even to TikTok, it's kind of like if they don't have the bio and they have like 30 friends and they have no videos, you automatically think a bot or you think a scammer or something because they don't do anything. And that I can understand that on Facebook. Yeah. If you had friend requested me and I didn't know it was you, and I'm sitting there going like, okay, which one is Malin? Hold on, I gotta go through and like, because we met so many people, and it's like I need a face. I'm like, yes, we had a conversation. I didn't realize her name was Malin, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we sat there and talked for 4 hours, and I was like, I remember faces before I remember names, unless I say it multiple times, and so that makes so much more sense. But like, I seriously was like, how am I going to slide it? But it's not sliding into someone's DM and just being like, hey, be an influencer. It is really starting to use those connections you've made, use the connections that you can make, and then start, like, if you're going to start this today and decide to get an influencer bag together, you need to start being social on social media, and you need to start commenting on other people's stuff and have stuff for people to comment on yours. And then, so this is going to be something that will take time. This is not something you can start right away unless you already do that. So that's that. I'm so glad that this is what you talked about. Like, when I told them what our topic was, they're like, yes, because this is something with this day and age of moving into more social media, more platforms, and that this is how people are interacting and this is where people are buying. Instagram and TikTok are one of the greatest ones that if you see something, you can buy it right then and go. And you've already put it in your cart and you shopped and you clicked and you're done. And you've never seen a commercial for it, but you happen to see it and it had a little video and you're like, oh my gosh, how did they know I needed that? I mean, they're all on your phone. Like, there's
why do all of my bad habits have to be called into this evening?
Just because you resemble this comment does not mean it was specifically addressed to you. So,
but if the shoe fits,
if the shoe fits, she probably bought it in 3 different colors. Okay, it's okay. So I guess this is probably a good part that we can go ahead and kind of wind this up, and that and if you'll get me the Canva link for what you had in your influencer bag, I will add it into the description. Guys, I'm so glad that all of y'all showed up for this podcast. If you're listening to this on Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere else, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe, and comment below. What did you think about the influencer bags? What did you think about the concept? Was this something that you would try? Going back to where we are at in social media, this is a great way to start utilizing the things that you've already started, the connections you've already created. And this is a way for you to start using the same terminology that most people are using now on social media, being an influencer, learning to aspire and create interest around the products. So thank you guys for showing up. We can just do the little outro. I am Cassie Bollinger. I don't know who's going to go next.
I'm Robin Hatfield.
I'm Jackie Duran.
And I'm Malin Bowles.
Thank you so much for Who Knows Best. Guys, if you haven't heard it today, we love you. You are strong. You are important. You can do this business. Keep going. Keep trying. And we will see you guys next week.